Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Modern Life. I'm here today with Steve from work. Steve, how you doing?
Hi, I'm Steve from work. I'm doing great.
Alrighty, Steve. What's on your mind? What you got for our Modern Thought segment?
So I actually never knew this whole Mo Mamba thing was actually like a real phenomenon. Like
What
it's
is
so
that?
much, yeah. It's called Mo Mamba. It's a song. I'm not really too sure who the artist is by. I don't really listen to like I guess modern rap anymore. But yeah, it's supposedly supposed to be like this crazy song that people just go bananas for. It's by Sheck Wes. Yeah.
I've never heard it.
Apparently,
Have I heard it?
yeah. No, it's one of those things where I honestly uh, would listen. I would watch this one thing I watch on Snapchat thing. It's called Barstool Sports or something like that, and they would just kind of like play back on Mo Mamba, and everyone would be mobbing like a sea of white kids, just mobbing and going nuts. I'm not sure if it's just white kids. I'm pretty sure it's everyone, but apparently it became so popular that now it's dead. Like they just like filmed some kids just like going crazy on like a trampoline like circuit, like Dojo Boom or something like that. Yeah, it's insane. Like I actually never knew. It came and went as fast as I found out about it. But
I'm
yeah,
gonna
Mo
have to
Mamba.
Google it after this.
I honestly just do Mo Mamba College, and you'll just see a bunch of college kids going ham on it. It's ridiculous.
Anything else you got?
Let's see. Bad Baby's kind of been up in the news a lot.
What's Bad Baby? What are all these things?
Oh, bad. Oh, you don't know about Bad Baby? Damn,
No.
girl. So Bad Baby like became that meme where she was like "Catch Me Outside." Have you
Oh,
heard of that?
yeah.
Yeah. So she became a rapper, and
No,
so
shut up.
yeah, I'm 100% serious on this. Like you can actually like YouTube it right now. Like Bad Baby, like BHEA or BHABIE. I think that's how you spell it. But yeah, Bad Baby, like full on rapper. She like took the opportunity of like her fame and yeah how urban she sounds, and and just went with it.
Wait, is the music actually good?
Come on, I mean honestly, she's like 15 years old. I mean like. I look. I'm not hating on anyone that's like 15 years old and trying to like do a music career, but like I'm just saying, like I'm not expecting the best out of. I'm not expecting like the new Eminem to come out of this, but maybe that can happen. I don't know. I'm just saying like my expectations are like, hey, can she like complete a sentence? Those are my expectations. Yeah,
Oh man.
that's honestly, yeah. Bad Baby's been like popping up lately, and I've just kind of been checking her out, like just clicking on her links. And apparently they have like a reality Snapchat show about her now. So I was like, huh, it's quite hilarious.
I'm gonna have to Google that as soon as we're done here. So the thing that I wanted to recommend is actually a YouTube channel called Pop Culture Detective.
Okay.
And he puts out videos that are like video essays. So they have like a script and they're edited really, it's like a really well done video. Like the latest one that he had was the way sexual harassment against men is treated always as a joke in movies. And I've been like railing against this I think just the other day I stopped watching a movie because they had like a rape joke about men. And I'm like, this isn't funny. I'm turning this movie off. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah. No, that's actually really funny because well, not funny like as in haha, but funny because I just saw something like Terry Crews, I think his name is.
yeah, he
Like, I
did
mean,
mention him in the video. So Terry Crews did sue his assaulter, his
mhm.
whatever that word is,
Yeah.
for sexual harassment, and he's become kind of like a very important spokesperson against that. So the video kind of dives into that as well. All right. So let's dive into the main topic, Casino Royale. It's a movie from 2006, and I have never taken this many notes on something before, Steve. So if I feel like we're going to be here a while.
All right, let's get to it, man.
I went deep. I went like I've seen all the special features on the DVD. Like,
Oh,
oh god,
oh, you went like
I
cavity deep.
yeah, yeah. And so the reason I wanted to do this movie, listeners, was because I'd only seen of the new Bond films. I'd only seen Skyfall, and I'd refused to watch Casino Royale because I checked out the book. Like, oh, I'm just gonna read all the James Bond books. And it was a real struggle to get through this one because it is so misogynistic, and the movie kind of takes that source material and turns it on its head. So I really appreciate the
So
movie
wait,
for.
so wait, you're saying that the movie's actually better than the book?
Oh yeah, definitely,
Oh
definitely.
my God, that's such a rarity these days. Like I never hear that ever.
Yeah, there's a few I could think of. Bridget Jones' Diary, Drive, Far from the Madding Crowd. Yeah, there's a few movies I would say are better than the book.
Oh, see, that's such a refreshing look because I never read. So to say that a
Yeah,
movie's
this
better is like, yeah, I'm
this
cultured
book
too.
was tough. This book was really tough, and I did not go back and like reread passages for this podcast because like it's
Well,
just it's a lot.
well, I mean,
So
like to be honest, I mean, the 007 series is just like a very much it's a fantasy of male, just prowess. Like it's a male fantasy. So I mean, like
yes, I
have
would say that for the movies, but in the book, Bond is not this like charming character. Like he just is brooding in his hotel room and has like pages and pages of dialogue of how women aren't people and they're only there for recreation for men, and like
oh
it's not
wow.
sexy, you know what I mean? Like he's not. I think the character they've created from the movies is kind of this iconic, classy, tux, and it's not at all like that in the books, I would say.
Okay. So like just kind of make him to be just kind of this fucking frat boy.
Yeah. Yep.
Just like this frat boy with a gun. It's like, damn, that's that's rough.
So were you when I first watched this movie and it starts out, I was like, is this movie in black and white? You know how it starts out black and white? It's like my brother goes,
Like
just
why'd you turn
keep
like grandma
watching
all of a
it.
sudden? Like reverse grandma. Like this movie in black and white. I remember when they were in color. What?
Technicolor.
Grandma. All right, go on, sorry.
How did you like the intro? Do you like the intro with the like cartoony like cards and
Well, the intro, like, are you talking about the intro, like, scene or the intro, like, the
the
actual.
song, like the song playing and the
Well, look,
animations and
well, I never really like those kind of things, to be honest. I feel like
oh
those are
really?
kind of, yeah, I honestly think like those kind of introductions are really kind of old fashioned. And, well, I mean, I get that that's what they're going for as far as paying like an homage to like the old Bond films, because that's what they were, like this sexy, like someone singing, like very
And the
sultry.
silhouettes and the yeah.
Yeah, it's like I get it. I feel like we we can move on from that. Like you can still pay an homage to 007 without still knocking on the door of his you're knocking on his front door. I just don't think that that's something that you really need to go through because I just feel like it's
Interesting.
cheesy. Like I just feel like it's like I feel like for as gritty and real this was, that was just kind of like, okay, like, is this going to be another James Bond film from like, from 1990s? You know, like I wanted something new and different, but I understand what they were going for. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I understand.
Gotcha. Yeah, I really enjoy those opening sequences, but I actually really like your take on it. And something I did not know is apparently all the Bond films start with him walking into, no, walking to the side, then looking towards the screen and shooting, and then you have the gun barrel and the blood coming down.
Right, right.
And apparently that's always the opening, and for this one they delayed it until after he has those two kills in the black and white, because they were like, oh, he's not a double O yet, so we can't have that intro yet.
Yeah, no, no. Like, I think the intro scene was amazing. Just because this is the first look at what 007 is and who he is as 007. The whole
Mm-hmm.
black and white was like very symbolic and like, right, and like before this, he was kind of like he wasn't who he is now. And
Yeah.
even so, like when saying like he when the first kill, he's like he made you feel it, didn't he? Like the first kill, killing like someone that requires your hands, like especially from 007 is going to be someone that's going to be more frequent, like
Yeah.
and so like that psychological those that everything that came with it too, like with becoming a 007 is that it's like you can't be the same person. Like the first guy or the guy he's that guy that's sitting down with the gun. He's like I don't feel like you're a threat because I don't see that loss in you yet, which makes him like even a better 007 because he's disguising that torture that he feels from like killing someone. You
Huh.
know, so I feel
Yeah.
like that was a great scene.
Yeah. So next we have the Madagascar scene in the construction area. And while the stunts and those are absolutely amazing, I'm not a huge fan of this whole sequence.
Oh, why?
Um, so I kind of want to recognize and honor the insane work that went into building this set and getting Sebastian, what's his name, Faucon. He's the bad guy in that scene, and he's the one of the founders of parkour. So the whole thing of him running around and they're jumping from crane to crane, and that's something they actually did. It's not CGI. It
God.
absolutely just fantastic and amazing. But narrative wise, what is happening in that scene is just because we go from James Bond, like, don't touch your mic, we need him alive, to like mowing down all of Madagascar. You know
Yeah,
what I
okay,
mean?
yeah. Yeah,
And
I totally get that. Yeah, but keep going.
like when he's in the digger, like getting into that construction site, like, yeah, that's really cool, but like, how did you know that person was going to slow down and hide behind there? Why did you get in the digger? Like, narratively, I'm like, it's it's just a bit much. Oh, and I did also Google if diggers have bulletproof glass, and a lot of the time they actually do, because it protects the person in the digger from like debris and rock flying at you. So I did not know this.
Yeah, so boom. Fun fact, Tabby. It's not just ridiculous because I saw the same scene and I was thinking the exact same thing,
Yeah,
and
right.
then
Like,
and I was like, this fool does not give a fuck. Like this guy just he doesn't care. He is determined. I think what I liked about the scene. I do agree that it was just kind of out of character, but we have to also kind of reel ourselves back is that like this is 007 at his infancy. Like he hasn't learned the art of just stealth yet. And so or that coolness.
there's very little spy work in this film,
Yeah.
which I didn't realize until I like rewatched it. This is no like
Yeah, this guy's
Tinker
just fucking
Tailor.
like looking at
Yeah,
cameras and shit. I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
that that part I didn't get. Like, sure, there's a camera there, but isn't he supposed to be a secret agent? All of a
Yeah,
sudden, on
right.
every newspaper, it's like MI6 messed up. And I'm like, how does everyone know that he's a secret?
But like what gets to me is that he makes direct eye contact with the camera. It's not like like he just kind of messed up. No, he's like, no, you can look at me. You can look at my face. Like what, dude?
uh,
Everyone's after you. Okay, but I think what the narrative was about that scene was actually really really exposing of who the character is. It told us that 007 is reckless.
yeah.
He's determined, and also like he hasn't really honed in on his skill as being a 007 yet. You know?
It's just 100% agree with everything you've said, but I think it's just tough seeing, because there's so many people who die in that sequence, like the construction worker falling to his death.
Ah,
he's just taking out like an embassy, and it's like the British colonialist white guy going into this place and just taking out a bunch of like people of color, and then there are no repercussions for that. And these spy movies that are like CIA, MI6, like the latest Tom Cruise Mission Impossible, it's almost feels like a little bit of propaganda where we're not supposed to question the people who have your best
Mm.
interest at heart, and that's not reality. That's not.
Well, no, no, I actually do because when I was younger, back in 2006, I was a wee boy of I think I was like what? I think it was 22, something like that. I was still a kid, pretty much. You know, I'm 34 now, just in case if anyone's listening and wondering who the fuck is this guy. So I'm like up there as far as I hope maturity and kind of perspective goes. When I first saw this movie, I actually had no idea what the plot was because I didn't care what the plot
Right,
was. You
right.
know, like I wanted explosions and yeah, like look at this fool just going off and just exploding everything and just, like it's like a teenager like going off like if it's like this oversized brute just going off on everyone to get what he wants.
Yeah.
You know,
And there is that scene of M commenting on it, like, oh, we can't run a country with these maniacs running around. But then there are no repercussions for either James Bond or the UK as a country. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, like it's honestly those undertones I honestly ignored because all I wanted was for a 007 to get his man, and again, it goes back to the whole um, male perspective or male gaze of like, okay, like this is what I want. You know, I get what I want, no matter what's in my way.
Mm,
Like I don't care. Like I'm gonna get what I want, and that's cool. That goes with the whole misogyny thing as well. Because yeah, well, up until like last year or 2 years ago, the whole Me Too movement like is very much like that. It's like okay, well, I'm gonna get what I want, no matter what's in my way. Like your sex is what I want, and so it's it's very much a placating to those male fantasies of like getting what you want. So now
yeah.
that I'm older and can analyze these kind of these undertones, it's a lot more clear for me. But it's up to me if I want to actually, you know, play into that or just kind of analyze it, which I can do both because I'm at the age that I am where I can make a decision for myself.
Yeah,
But
that's kind of my relationship with this movie too, where I'm like, this is really cool. But at the same time I have to look at it critically. Like your fave is problematic, kind of like that,
yeah,
you know? Like, also, like doing that chase scene in the construction when they move from the building to like the welding area, everyone's still just working. And I'm like,
yeah.
there's like explosions and police are coming, but this group of people is just like, nah, I gotta do my job. Like, I'm like, what?
It's very Kafkaesque. Like it's ignoring what is actually important and just kind of going along while things around you are fucking going to pieces. Like it's just I mean honestly that's it's like oh that's weird. Just better keep on welding. Don't want my boss to yell at me. Like what, bro? You should get out.
Oh man.
But yeah.
So can I say that Judy Dench is a total baller and I love her.
Oh, dude, like she see as much as they make James like a boss and this force to working with, they actually do a really great job to like kind of make really strong female characters as well that he
Yeah.
respects.
So, for example, in M's apartment, which is just such a gorgeous apartment, they purposefully made her entrance higher up than where he's sitting because they wanted to establish that she's always in control and she's always the boss, and like he's being the petulant kind of child, if that makes sense. And I also love like her whole outfit. The jewelry she's wearing reminds me of like the constellation like star jewelry you can buy. I don't know. It's just very like classy, and yeah, she's very beautiful in this.
Well, like I want to actually talk about the whole dynamic between M and James
Oh,
a
please go
little
ahead.
bit.
Yes. I think the movie Skyfall kind of goes into this a little bit more too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
But pretty much like I mean, from just judging from this film, it's very much like M stands for mom, you know, like
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
right, like it's very symbolic when it comes to like master, mom, like just code word. It even stands for like her name, I guess, because even indicates that. I absolutely love how she is kind of a mom to James because he fucked up. He fucked up big. And, like everyone's after him as far as like turning him into like for those consequences. And she's like, I'm really close to considering giving them to you, or giving him to them,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
turning and turning my back to you because, but like a mom, she's not going to do that because I mean, she sees something in her and she sees something in him that resembles greatness. As far as him just kind of causing a fucking mess of a situation. As far as diplomacy goes, he's
Mhm.
pretty much like it's pretty much World War II. If this was any other country or World War
Right.
Three, I mean.
Right.
But she, is strong and is like, no, I'm not going to give you James. Why? What's so? Why wouldn't you? Like, I feel like if it was any other person, she would. You know.
But then you also have
So
that dialogue later where he goes, "You knew I wasn't gonna let this drop," and she goes, "I knew you were you." You know, she's
yeah,
one of the few people like Vesper, I think, who sees through him.
yeah, that's
So
true. I mean, like
yeah,
in a lot of ways to the people he's closest to, like he's very predictable. Which
yeah.
is kind of a bad thing when it comes to like trying to be one step ahead of your goal.
Yeah, and another instance of him just trying to grow into that role of Bond for me is when he parks the car of the German guys and he wrecks like a million other cars around him. And I'm like, was that really necessary? Like, come on, dude. Like, this isn't a Bond that's like suave and slick and like respectful, you know?
Oh yeah, no, he's I feel like what's her Vespa actually really hits home when she's analyzing him
Yeah.
um about being an orphan boy and like not coming from money but went to Oxford, like wears a suit but hates it. He's not really like a rich person that became like a spy. He's very much like a commoner and one that kind of hates the whole status quo of
Hmm.
just like money can buy you anything and money can buy you out of anything. I think in later movies we find out that his family did come from money, which is kind of interesting. As to like that whole like why do you hate yourself kind of thing. As far as Vespa analyzing him goes and him just kind of not really appreciating or not really liking how rich people act, I think that was really cool because it makes him relatable because most men, especially the ones that are watching this, aren't rich. They if anything, they are working class guys who feel like they're, the plight of the working man. You know, I feel that their masculinity is taken away by richer men. Like I don't know, like I understand it. Like again, I don't agree with it. I feel like fucking suck it up, Buttercup. Like just kind of like do your thing and be a better person. But in
Yeah.
any case, when it comes to this, uh, he's exemplifying that no, he is a self-made man, pretty much.
And then the scene where the woman is riding the horse on the beach, that scene to me is almost comical.
Yeah, no.
Where I'm not sure if they're making fun of Bond movies or if it's legit supposed to be sexy because it's
No, like I feel like it's legit supposed to be sexy. Like no,
oh
I laughed too. I was having a good time. I was like, oh okay, so it was just titties bouncing. All right.
and all the like kids of the village are running after her.
Like black kids just like running after her. Like yeah, like what is going on? Like I wouldn't run after a horse. Like why would I do that? Like horses kick back, man.
Oh man.
That's one, that's bad parenting. Two, like that is just oh my god. That is just like a class differentiator if I ever saw one. Like,
Um, yeah, but something I thought was really interesting is that scene where Bond is coming out of the water. I was listening to the costume designer's commentary, and she said she intentionally put Bond in this like really skimpy like bathing suit, whatever it's called.
yeah,
And
shorts
she
or
kind
whatever.
of shorts, right? And she wanted to mirror that scene of Halle Berry coming out of the ocean because she was like, the new Bond is like just as hot as like all the Bond girls, if that makes sense. I don't know. I thought it
Yeah,
was interesting. So
yeah, no, like in that sense, like I feel like it was kind of like trying to be different, because
yeah,
like no, this fool is jacked, man. Like I want to have that body. I'm looking over here with my cheeseburger in my hand. I'm like, fuck, I gotta make some changes. Like, and this fool is like what 50? Look, he looks 50 because he's like that beat up, but
yeah,
he does look older, and
yeah.
so yeah, like the fact that he is just kind of this Greek god coming out of the water. It's like fuck, dude. Like it's not. It's a little homoerotic, but at the same time, like I think the guys dig it because they feel like okay, well, it's not gay because he's fucking smashing shit, right? like I like how he looks because he's banging chicks though, right?
And I think this franchise, from what I've seen, this new one is really trying to move away from that. Like, if I'm thinking back to that scene with Javier Bardem in Skyfall, where he's like coming on to Bond, and Bond's like, "I've done this before. I'm cool with it."
Yeah.
It's not the like no homo jokes. It's like Bond's comfortable with his sexuality, which I really like. So
Yeah, no, I'll say like if you're gonna be a spy, man, that means you gotta be able to persuade both sexes.
yep. So there were a few deleted scenes in this, and where the evil guy Demetrius loses his car to Bond. He's like betting it at the poker table.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there was this whole scene where they're like on the phone with Geico, and they have to switch over the insurance and do like the title, and like, just kidding, there wasn't, but
I was like, fuck, man.
that's all I can think of in that scene. Like, you're just winning this car. Like, don't you have to fill out like a bunch of paperwork?
Nah, man, it's the Bahamas. It's the Wild West over here.
They're like in line at the DMV. Like,
No. Nah, baby. If you have something that's your keys, that's yours now. That's how it is. Oh no, no, like I think it's just like the whole handoff of power is kind of interesting because obviously that Aston Martin was like a very much a symbol
mm-hmm,
of his
mm-hmm.
manhood, and being able to just give that away, like or just being taken away, I should say, was actually pretty cool. I mean, like I don't know, it just says another thing about Bond about like how if like because the guy was really trying to like give away his money, like he was like, oh, let me bet $20,000. Like, well, let me build my car. And then like Bond's just like sitting back. He's like, okay, all right, not saying anything. He's just smiling at him. And then like the dealer is the one saying like, no, man, come on, what are you doing? Like this is ridiculous. And then finally he's like, no, that's all right. Like let him try to win his back his money. Like let him regain his manhood again if he wants to. Like if this is his way, then let him do it. Like he's not. That's what I like. I think I love about this Bond is that he never tries to like impose his manhood on anyone. He is who he is, and based on that, if anyone challenges him, he is going to win because that's how much of a man he is. And I when I say man, I base it on the parameters of having control because when he does shit where he loses control, I don't see that as being like a man. I don't think that would be an adult, I should say. Like I think anyone who male or female, if you lose control of a situation and you're fucking uh, doing a little tantrum, I feel like that's the embodiment of like of a child, not men or women.
It's kind of impossible to talk about Bond without all this almost baggage, I want to say, of this type of masculinity that he stands for, right? Like,
Yeah, no, like I almost feel like a fucking musin. I feel musin. What's that word? Misogyny?
misogyny.
Misogyny? Misogyny. Ah, okay. Misogynistic. Ah, there you are. I almost feel because there is part of me that wants that wants to align my views with that. You know that yeah, like I want to have a really great car. Yeah, I mean yeah, I do have a beautiful woman, Sarah Manheim, if you're listening to this. um, I do want those parameters in my life that kind of make me envious of other males.
They make it very attractive. I kind of want to talk about that really terrible sexy talk that Bond has with Demetrius's wife when they're rolling around on the carpet. Because it's kind of so bad, but I think it's supposed to be bad. Like when they're like, why can't nice guys be like you? Then they'd be bad guys. Hee hee hee. Like it's just, but I think they do that on purpose. Because then when you have that, contrast it with him and Vesper speaking, and it's very like rapid fire, quick, and they're, you
Yeah,
can see
no,
why these two people are attracted to each other. Because then you also have the contrast of his complete non-reaction to her death in the hammock, and when Vesper dies, it's very dramatic. Like it influences him a lot. So we kind of have that journey from him like starting to feel.
so when it comes to Katrina Marino, I think that's her name. Her dialogue's very much like "Save me, save me." You know, like
Oh yeah.
I have a bad boyfriend, save me. Feel sorry for me, save me. Like she's cheating on her husband, obviously, so like loyalty is not really a thing. She's opportunistic, and so like that's kind of like how we have to talk about these kind of like these undertones because she's only. I mean, she's been. I'm assuming that this is not a new thing for her. That she's very acclimated into the fact that she is being like used and abused and kind of like talked to in a manner where it's not respectful and just kind of like okay this is what in my life but at least I have money at least I'm comfortable you know I can ride horses on the beach.
But it is interesting that you bring that up because Vesper, she takes matters into her own hand, and Demetrius's wife is very, she almost has nowhere to go, without her husband like finding out and coming after her. So
Oh no exactly like
yeah.
she's very much like just like a helpless uh opportunistic being that just kind of I honestly don't think she really thinks about the consequences. Like she is out with Bond and like well Demetrius is just like still like kind of running about. Like I don't know. Either she knows the character of her husband so well that she knows that she won't be missed like for hours on end, or she doesn't care, which in both cases are just kind of like awful.
So the next cut here is so strange to me, because it goes from him in the Aston Martin driving to him being in the taxi cab in Miami, and it's not a mistake. Watching the commentary, they were very proud of this cut, but I'm like, it's super confusing because you're like, wait, where is he? He's already in Miami, and there's no thing on the bottom, and they always have a thing on the bottom of like saying what country they're in if they're in a new country,
Right.
and they don't have it here, like US or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
this cut is always really strange to me, especially because these movies are really international, and I don't expect everyone, people all over the world to know where he is based on the green street signs. You know what I mean?
I honestly don't like. I have no idea where he's at like half the time. I just see like, oh man, that'd be a really cool place to visit. Like, but I don't know where it is. Like, it's some beach lake in like that has a castle. Like, I have no idea where that is. Like, and it's sunny, so I know it's not Britain. Like,
Oh, the next sequence at the Body Worlds is like so frustrating because he's not wearing any sort of disguise, like not even a hat, and he's like following this guy around who obviously recognizes him, and then he loses track of like the bag right away after killing the guy, and it's just so frustrating to watch. It's like the worst spy in the world.
like, like, wait, if I just hide behind this glass box real quick,
Yeah.
it's not like he has like very recognizable features either way. Like it's not like his eyes are piercing blue
Right.
or You know,
Oh
which by the way,
God.
they do that a lot. They make it a point to kind of focus in on the eyes a lot, especially James's eyes, because like I feel like they pop out way more than
Oh
they should,
man.
right?
There's no Milan in there. None
Right?
whatsoever. It's like that Cyclops character from X-Men that has the
Mm-hmm.
laser eyes.
Yep.
It's
Well,
almost like
just
that.
I just can't take it, man. I'm just like, why are you looking at me?
What?
Like, this is uncomfortable. And I feel like that uncomfortable gaze is just kind of like staring at everyone. It's like, oh, this fool's. Why is this guy looking at me? Oh, it's James. Oh, I'm gonna kill this fool.
Also, how does he get in the airport? Did he buy a ticket just in case? Like, how did he know this chase was gonna end up at the airport? Like,
Ah, man, there's
I,
a lot. I feel like if you try to break it down, it'd be like an episode of Family Guy where it's just like you see just James is kind of doing like, all right, can I get a ticket for this flight? It's like, oh, that flight's full. Uh, it's all the red tape that goes along with just trying to get into the airport.
and also like, why are they bringing the plane out? This like new special plane, and there's police cars like chasing them. Don't these people have radios? Like, hey, everybody, be safe. There's a maniac coming towards you. Yet everyone is like surprised, like, oh no, run! Like,
Let's go, let's
why?
go. It's like, bro, you should have saw this coming. I would have saw this coming. Like, oh, what's going on? Oh, okay. Like, I just saw a cop car just flip over. All right, maybe we should all leave, dude. I don't know. It's like again, I think it just plays into the whole recklessness of James. Like the airplane is pretty much the goal, and no matter how ugly or reckless the process is to achieve it, he's willing to go through those methods. Like he's not going to sacrifice style. You know, he is sacrificing style for the main purpose, which is like saving as many people as possible.
Do you have a lot
But
of like woolen clothes on? Because there's like still this rustling sound.
you know what?
You
Okay, the Wookiee suit is coming off. Jesus Christ, Wookiee! Thought this was going to be a warm little session of me talking about Casino Royale, but I guess I have to freeze now.
All right, so I forgot how long this movie was. It takes a while before we even get to the casino.
Oh my god, like no, like it's I had to like break this movie up in like a couple of days because I honestly don't have the time
Right,
because
yeah.
I have school, I have work, I have projects, I have all this other stuff. And so like yeah, I want to watch it and so kind of refresh my memory. And last night I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm like halfway into it. It's still like an hour and a half left." Like what? It's like, damn, man. Like, all right, like it's entertaining. Like, I think that's what's so great about this movie. I mean, like, trying not to analyze it that much anymore is that if you just go along for the ride, it's very entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, if if you're trying to pick up on the plot points, it's kind of confusing because they tell you the why after everything that just went down. So after going through that whole adrenaline ride, they kind of try to explain what they try to like. It's like trying to explain a kid about like mathematics after you just give them a whole bowl of sugar. Like what? Like I'm not gonna listen to you right now, dude. Like I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew right now. Get off of me.
Oh man.
And so like I find myself like trying to really focus in. I'm like, all right, what is going on? Why is that guy with the bleeding eye like so pissed off? Like why is anyone playing poker right now? Like I want like all these questions like I never really asked when I was younger.
Because he
I
lost
just
all the money from all the bad investments, and now he has to
yeah,
like
no, that
go
I mean I got
back.
that now. Like
Okay,
I
okay.
understood that now. I'm just saying like back when I was a kid, I was like, no, I don't fucking care. They're playing poker now. Fuck yeah. Like, let's do this.
I love the casino sequence. In the book, they play Baccarat, and I think it's actually a very, very smart choice to change it to poker because more people are familiar with it.
Hmm.
And it also takes less explaining. Oh my god. There's this whole chapter in the book. of Bond explained to Vesper what gambling is, and it's so patronizing and insulting, and like, why would she not know what it is if she's on this assignment? But she's just listening to it like, oh my god, you're so amazing, I never knew what a bluff was. Like, and in the movie they take that scene and they kind of mirror it when they're on the train, and then she calls him out on it. She's like, yeah, I know what gambling is, stop explaining this to me. And the screenwriter said that he wanted their dialogue to be this very, like, old Hollywood, like charade, like all these old movies where it's just people being really snappy and witty and there's no stopping. They're just like
Mhm.
reacting to each other right away. And I feel they did that perfectly. I love the
Yeah,
train
no,
scene. I love every scene of them like together. Because you have to establish that she would, trade in the money to let him live. Yet she's met him like 2 days ago. So you have to like go off on a really strong start to make the audience understand why she would do this much stuff for him, I feel.
right.
So yeah. Oh, also Mads Mikkelsen's like wardrobe is amazing and it's so extra. Like when he's in Uganda in the jungle and like the ground is just mud and he's not wearing combat boots or like a raincoat, he's wearing like dress shoot and like a three-piece suit or whatever. I'm like, oh my god, dude, such a Bond villain. I love it.
Yeah, no, like I honestly, I loved when James and Vespa were in the casino. Um, they're it just it's just the ridiculousness that happens when James is trying to do what he does, and Vespa's like, dude, I don't know if I can do this, man. Like she has an extra 5,000 or 5 million that she can lend Bond, like if he loses, and she doesn't do it. Like that's how strong of a character that she is that like she's able to give him more money, but she will not. And I think that's such like a great character development when it comes to like their relationship. It's like, no, like I'm not just gonna give you what you want. Like I'm not gonna like just because you're crying, fucking throwing a fit right now, it doesn't mean I'm gonna fucking give it to
Oh,
you.
I hate that scene where he like calls her an idiot. I'm like, no, don't go back to your old ways. Like, why would I kind of hate that they left it like that. That he calls her an idiot. Which, because in that scene too, she's also not giving him the money because she knows what'll happen to him if he wins. Like she's trying to protect him.
Yeah, I guess I'm just saying like it's. I kind of wish that wasn't that because it makes for her to be an even stronger character.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
fact
There's
that
so many layers. Like she's responsible. She wants to do her job well. She's not gonna mess around with government money. She also cares for him and wants to like protect him. Like she has a lot of agenda in that scene, and he like throws a fit. So
I don't know, man. Like it. Okay, so the thing that bugs me the most about this movie is that Vespa was actually. I wish she wasn't as involved with James as much as they make her out to be. I really want James to just feel duped, like vulnerable, to the point where like everything that she said, everything that she was, everything that was her was completely false.
what? Why do
Because,
you want that?
but well, because okay, if you're trying to make a movie that's really kind of revolutionary as far as like the whole masculinity goes and femininity and like the roles that we play in society, like you very much hear like the Taylor Swift songs and you hear like these boys crushing these girls' hearts and just kind of being, just dismembered by just like their emotions, just like how James is pretty much in the next film, like how he is just wrecked out of control. Like and you see like these boys just not give a fuck, because fuck bitches make money kind of attitude. I honestly felt like if they were to make Vespa a very like yeah they want to portray this emotion and like be a double agent and just kind of but mainly be that because I want her to ultimately not care about James because that's not her goal.
I don't know, but that's the story though, is that these people started to care for each other, and it's like Bond finally has feelings enough that he
Yeah.
wants to quit his job and send in a resignation letter without any punctuation.
No, exactly. No,
Uh,
I want that. I want whatever James is feeling. I want that to continue on. I want that devastation because it's a play on role reversal. Like you hardly see movies where the guy is devastated by a woman and the man being so masculine. Like if you take the movie Her, like the masculinity in that is not very prominent. If you take let's see, um, what's the one with Juno? The male character is very not masculine. Like these characters who the women don't really want to be with a male. Like these males are very much very not masculine. But to have a male that's masculine and muscular and the epitome of what it is to be a man be so vulnerable and so devastated by a woman because he actually loved her. I think that would have been a really great twist on what a, like of her character and her arc. Because she loves someone else.
yeah, but I guess she gets over that. By the end, she lets that go. She's like, I'm gonna let the past go. I'm with James Bond now.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Like I
Didn't
don't.
work for you.
That's the part where it lost me. Like I was like, oh, cool. Like this is cool. Oh, she's double agent too. What? Oh she's sacrificing everything so she can. Okay, okay, all right. Oh, kissing scene. Okay. And I've just seen it. I've just seen it so many times, and I've seen it in so many ways where like they have to like the love story. I don't know. Like I understand because you want to be like a James Bond movie that there has to be some level of intimacy there, especially from the female. But I don't know. I wanted it to be more spy oriented than I guess
Like a love
relationship
story.
oriented.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I don't know. I guess I was really into that. I love the scene of him, for example, putting on the dinner jacket in the bathroom, the one that she got for him. Because it's like we see Bond for the first time and in his like uniform. That's what we know Bond as, right? Before this, he's been wearing all
Mhm.
these like different other outfits, and now he's like, this is him, and him like looking himself in the mirrors. I just love that. It's like, oh yeah, we're all here for it.
That was a great scene. Yeah.
And then also, Vespa entering from the other side, and the only person who's distracted is Bond when he wanted everybody else to be distracted by how great she looks. I love that. I think it's such a great little tidbit to get their like relationship going where he's like, oh wait, what? It's my turn. Like he's just so enamored with her. I just thought that was really cute.
Mhm. That was I like that. Like being able to show off your woman is kind of I think that's a great a sign of a great relationship when you're proud of the other
Of
person.
the other person,
You
yeah,
know,
that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
being able to be like, yeah, like I want this is my person. This is my girlfriend. This is my boyfriend. Like like look at her. Like yeah, I want you to come in. Like don't feel like don't want you around.
Right.
I want your presence to be known, kind of thing. And that's a great sign of a relationship.
So Felix Leiter, the CIA agent, he's he's like his contact in the book. And so watching this movie for the first time, and he's a very prominent character throughout all the Bond novels, I believe. Um,
Mhm.
like I thought, oh, they're gonna leave that character out. Like I really liked Felix, and then suddenly I was like, wait a minute, that one guy has had one too many lines. Like he is more than an extra. And then when he stops him, like grabs his hand and stops him from like stabbing Le Chiffre. I'm like, oh my god, it is Felix! Like I was right. Like I thought that was such a cool little twist for even for people who read the story before. Like
Mhm.
they did that really, really well. Even though the deal they make, where he's like, oh, I get to bring in Le Chiffre, but you get to keep the money. And then Bond goes, don't you need the money? And he goes, no, the CIA doesn't need any money. I'm like, really? The US just has like unlimited funds? Like, I did
It's like
not know
fuck
that.
it. If it costs $100 million, it costs $100 million. It's
Whatever.
fine. Guess why we're building? That's why we're building that wall, baby. It's like we got tons of money. No, yeah, no. Felix
God.
actually was a great character, just because like I like. Well, Jeffrey Wright, I feel, is an amazing actor. I like his the way he gets you to just kind of empathize and kind of root for him, regardless of whether or not he is a good guy or a bad guy in a situation. He's
Yeah, he's
he's
great.
such a yeah, he's such a complimentary piece when it comes to James and Daniel Craig, and them just kind of interact with each other. Like it's just I don't know. I think when they're together in the casino, I think that's magic because you kind of what I play poker a lot, and so that's why like this Casino Royale is one of my favorite movies because Hold'em is primarily the game that I play. So having someone that you talk to and kind of like making small talk and stuff like that, it's part of the game because you want to be able to kind of pick up on little things and pick up on people's personalities fairly quickly.
Huh.
So yeah, so like talking to like Felix is kind of one of those things where like I don't know if he's in it, if he's talking to him because he wants to get information from me, or why is everyone getting the drinks I want to get? Like, are they trying to like flatter me so I can let my guard down? There's a lot of psychological warfare when it comes to poker, and so like the fact that he doesn't really make his presence or his character clear until later is just really cool because I honestly didn't know where he. I knew who the actor was. I just didn't know where he stood in like this the spectrum of
Right.
like whether he's going to be with James or against James. But yeah, no. When it comes to the poker table, I think that's such an intimate scene when and such a psychological scene for everyone because it lets you in on a lot of what goes on the poker table and what's going on internally as well.
But do you wish there would have been a little bit more of Bond winning because he figured something out or because he was bluffing or because the hand he wins with at the end is like, yeah, I would have won with that hand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could have done it.
Yeah, no, like, and there's one other movie that I like that's a poker oriented scene, and it's hard. Like, it's what is it called? It's by ah, freak. It's Matt Damon, and he is a poker nut. Like he's really smart, but his main thing is poker. I forget what that movie is. I'm probably I'll think of it later. But my point is that pulling off Texas Hold'em scenes is kind of difficult because my honest the best scenes I feel are the ones where you call a bluff. You know, when
Yeah.
you when you feel like someone else is trying to maneuver themselves in a way where like they're trying to manipulate who you are. Those are the best scenes, and the fact that he lost. I mean, yeah, like I feel like he should have like I don't think a tell would have been good. I feel like I think a tell is too easy,
Huh.
to be honest. If someone picks up on the tell, that's kind of like for people who play poker, it's kind of like shouting. It's like I have this or I don't
Got
have
it.
this.
Okay, I wouldn't have known
Like
that, but that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, so like it's too easy. Like all right, like okay, so this person does this every time they have a good hand, or if they
Right.
don't have a good hand. So it's like okay, well, like that takes away a lot of the psychological warfare that becomes like poker. So yeah, I would have preferred him like kind of deducing as to what it is to call a bluff. So I'm gonna break it down just for a little bit. So when you're calling a bluff, you kind of have to understand what phases things go through. So in poker, you get the flop, which is three cards, and so people behave a certain way. So the probability of either making a hand or that you already have a hand is gonna come out in your regardless in your eyes, in your posture, in the way you check your hands. It comes out in a multitude of ways. So that's what you pay attention to. And then the third or the fourth card comes out with that's called the turn. So now you're now in this kind of scenario you're telling a story. So wherever however you behaved in the flop where the first three cards, you have to continue that story.
That
If
oh,
you're
I'm sorry. I had no idea I had like a poker expert on right now. This is fascinating. Like
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I played poker for a really long time.
I had no clue.
Yeah,
Okay.
before Casino Royale came out, like even as a kid, my dad taught me how to play poker like at a really really young age,
That's
and so
concerning,
like
but go on. No, I'm just kidding.
it's fine. I drank some of his beer. It's fine. It's cool. But and so
Because if you then change your behavior, like that could tell the other people that this new card that the dealer put down, like, right? Like it's too easy.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So like so the turn would tell me either okay, if you established like a clear way of like, hey, I have this kind of cards, like I'm putting this much money down, I'm very confident, then the turn you should also be telling that story as well. It's like you want to continue this, you want to continue this bet, it's gonna cost you. If you want to come along with this ride with me, guess what? Like right now, as of right now, I have the best hand. You might be able to hit a better hand, or you feel like you have a better hand right now, but I guarantee you don't. And that's kind of the story you kind of tell when you play poker. Is like, what stories are you telling? Or if you are just kind of along for the ride, you're like, yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for my card, waiting for my chance. I feel like this much money can give me this much result, and then that's why when you hit like the river, like in the first instance when they James and the chief interact with each other, James is like, "Oh, I know that tell. I know what he is because he only had a pocket twos, and it was only until the last card that he had the winning hand.
Right.
So I had him. I knew what was going on. So that progression, I feel would make a better storyline as far as telling a story about poker and like filling out how to make those kind of deductions. Just like in like a movie, you're telling a story which every hand, and so the chief is a really good poker player, and so he got lucky. He knew he was lucky, and because he was twitching, he knew that shit. I'm fucked. Like if I don't make something right now, and so that's how he like James kind of figured out. Okay, this is how he does it. This is how I know I can have him if he feels nervous because he can't control his eye because his eye's all fucked up.
Yeah. But what I also love about at least in my opinion, they made these poker scenes very interesting. Like for each scene, they used different, like a style of shooting it from different angles, from so you always kind of knew where you were. Because people sitting around a table is not that interesting to film, and not only did they make
Yeah.
it look really cool, but then they also broke it up with all these, like the action scene in the staircase, the action scene where Bond is poisoned. Like it's not, they know how to pace it to keep you interested, where you want to almost come back to the quiet of the poker table after all the excitement that just happened.
Oh, oh, absolutely. Like I've been in poker situations where I've been playing for like they even say like what we've been playing for 4 hours, like at one
Really?
point.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. Like in tournaments, you play all day. You play for 8 hours, like 10 hours. That's why
Jesus.
it's it's a mental like
Marathon.
marathon for the
Yeah.
yeah. So you have to be able to kind of keep your cool, and that's why you hear people or poker players saying going on tilt. That means that your emotions have tilted your way of thinking, and so you're not able to conduct yourself in a way where it's strategic anymore. So you pretty much like start fucking just you start gambling instead of playing strategically. So that's why like when you in California there are no casinos except for like in Indian reservations, but they are card casinos, and card casinos are legal because they're considered to be a skilled gamble. Like you're able to uh, have a certain, and you need to possess a certain skill or to deduce a certain amount of probability to in order to uh, gamble. Pretty much, it's not just like slots or roulette where chance is
I did
everything.
not know that.
You know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's considered like a sport almost.
And that's why you see it on ESPN. Like
Got it.
it's very much it's like you see why is anyone watching golf right now? Well, there's a lot that goes into golf. Why is anyone watching poker? Well, there's a lot of things that go into poker, and only people who actually have a lot of experience would appreciate a lot of things that go into watching like a 30-minute session of poker because I know that I'm one of those guys. So
Got
yeah,
it.
this is by far one of my favorite scenes.
And another scene I really love that breaks this up is the shower scene, because it's so rare in action movies, or crime procedurals, to see a genuine human reaction to what has
Hmm.
just occurred. Um,
Yeah.
and then also the way Bond deals with it, where he doesn't try to pull her out of the shower or like, you pull yourself together, he's just like joining her there. He's like turning on the heat of the shower, and that's like their moment together. I don't know, I just
Yeah.
really love that scene.
I know it's beautiful because I feel like he understands it. I think he understands how that feels to kind of.
And he's there like with a woman without turning it into something like weird or sexual the way we've seen in other Bond movies.
Well, one I could argue that him like kind of sucking on her fingers is a little sexual,
But it
but
doesn't go into like, this scene doesn't escalate to them having sex in the shower, I guess is what I'm saying. Like it
no, like,
doesn't.
and I yeah, and I feel like that's kind of like the point. Like that's as far as like the sexualization of that woman goes, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like her vulnerability in the shower is as far as James is willing to take it. He and I think that's very admirable, and I think that's one of the things that this movie does really well is that he doesn't take advantage.
Yeah, in this movie, we
Yeah.
won't talk about the last movie where he's like casually raping people who just got back from a funeral.
We're just talking about Casino Royale. Like
Yeah.
that's right here. I think that's why this is like the best one of all of them. Is that there's so much complexity that goes in with James, and so much of the gentleman, and yet the brute force that is
Yeah.
the 007. You know that I really really appreciate. I think that's why it's such an iconic movie because you have the elegancy of like James Bond and tuxedo, and you have you compare that to like his brute force and his recklessness. And it's like, okay, so which one is he? You know,
Yeah.
like the answer is both.
Yeah, and all the other Bond films, something that the writers pointed out is Bond doesn't really change. Like, he's a set character. And this is kind of the first time that they've made Bond go on a emotional journey, and, a journey of character development.
And I love that. Yeah, I think it's amazing they took that route.
Something you mentioned earlier, when he loses and Le Chiffre like wins that hand or wins that round, when he goes, "You must have thought I was bluffing, Mr. Bond." It's such a great villain line. Like, and then he gets
Yeah.
up with his winnings. Like, I just love it so much.
That's and that's part of it too. That's part of poker because especially when you know you have the winning hand, when you know it's called having the nuts. When you know you have the nuts, you want the other person to call because that means that your winnings are going to be exponentially more. So especially when you go all in and the other person's contemplating whether to call or not, you want to be able to kind of lure them in through some sort of acting, you know. And so the fact that he kind of manipulated himself to kind of feel like, all right, like I'm nervous kind of thing, and then Bond picking up on that, I think that right there is the best scene in poker when it comes to this movie. It's so that's what it is. That's all poker is just trying to figure out what the other person is trying to do, without even trying to look at their hands. The hands ultimately give the result of who wins and who loses, but trying to squeeze as much money out of them or to save as much money as you can through a series of mistakes is pretty much what you need to be able to do when it comes to this. In Lashif, I don't care what the result was. I think Lashif should have won that whole thing. Like, the lengths he went to get fucking rid of Bond. It's like, all right, I beat you in poker. I beat you in like psychological warfare. I try to poison you. Like, what does it take, man?
No, I do need to say something about the car chase that isn't a car chase, because
Mm-hmm.
it just ends
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the crash really quickly. In the book, because Vesper works with Le Chiffre, there's just like spikes in the road. And that's what causes Bond's car to stop. And she also doesn't actually get tortured. But then in the movie, Lashifa doesn't know that she's working for Mr. White. So her being in the road, the first time I watched this, I screamed. Like I was so startled that there was a
Yeah,
person in the road because I was not expecting it. Oh
right.
man.
Because like, who does that, right? Like, what kind of fucking freak are you, man? Like, yeah, the Chief's bad. Like, he is ruthless.
But like in a sexy way, you know? Like
Because you know what it is? Because he doesn't scream. He's in control. He doesn't
oh, Steve.
he doesn't do anything to make it seem like he is like angry. I mean, you know he's angry, but he doesn't
Yeah.
he is
He's
in
like
control of his
Elsa,
emotions.
conceal, don't feel, right?
Yeah. Just
That's
like
it.
I'm just saying like the she what makes a really great villain in my eyes when it comes to cinematic when it comes to cinema I should say is the villain is not a screaming buffoon. Well,
Right.
those can be like the sub villains.
The comic relief ones, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's if you don't want the focus to be on the villain, which I feel like a lot of movies, especially comic book movies, really fail on. But a really great villain is
Oh,
one that is
yeah.
completely composed, that is calculating, and you are fucking terrified whether or not they know enough information. And like you want the villain not to know what you know as an audience, but that's always a struggle. Do they know? Do they not know? Is everything in control? Like, is it out of control? Like, how much does the villain know? What is what makes one a really great scary movie, two a really great like movie just in general when it comes to villains, and three just kind of like it's such a great back and forth between good and
Yeah,
evil.
yeah. So the Aston Martin flip actually set a world record back in 2006 for this stunt. And there was a dude in a car. This is insane to me. The car flipped 7 times, and they actually did really well trying to rehearse this with other cars. But then once they got the Aston Martin, because it's a sport car and it's so level, it evens itself out. So it would go up in the air, but then just come right back down. And they had to put like a pump, like a hydraulic thing in it to get it to start to flip. And I mean, it looks amazing. The car flips 7 times. Like,
Yeah,
ah,
it's pretty fucking
I
brutal.
had no idea that at the time this was the world record set by this movie. So,
I like action movies. I'm totally okay with just kind of turning off my brain and just kind of going for the ride. And I actually did do a little bit of research when it came to that car flip, and yeah, like it was a big thing back then too because especially around movie producers to get something to look so realistic without using CGI was and like that's a great thing about movies right now is that good CGI looks just as real as the real thing. But I there's something about like having a real Aston Martin flip in the
yeah.
air 7 times that it just makes your jaw just drop.
The mission of this movie was to really step away from the gadgets and the explosions and the CGI and go back to real stunts, like real work, and showing, the art of stunt work on screen. So,
I think that was beautifully done. I think that's what really kind of kept me, especially as at that age, like so enthralled with what else is going to happen.
yeah. So the torture scene was my favorite scene in the book because at this point, Bond had been such a terrible human being that it was so satisfying to like read about him getting tortured. I was like, yes, you deserve this. Um,
Wow, Tabby.
that's how bad this book is. Because especially in the book, his ability to have sex with women is what he builds his entire personality and masculinity around. So this was kind of a
Mm.
big thing of, oh no, am I still gonna be a man after like my genitals are smashed to bits? I don't know. They kind of do touch on that in the movie a little bit, but it's not to the degree that they do in the book because I think we've moved on from that.
Yeah, I feel we established that James is very much his manhood doesn't extend is not determined whether or not he has
Right,
genitals or not,
right,
because even the chief even says towards the end of that torture scene is that I'm going to feed you that which you don't care about. You know, he's about to fucking just like fucking rip out his fucking genitals and feed it to him, like right then and there. And like he's like, I don't care, man. Like you can fucking smash my shit as much as you want. The integrity of me being a man does not revolve around like whether or not I have a penis.
it's man the way he takes it though, and he's like, they do show him like starting to cry, but I think he would or at least me, I would just break down and cry right away. Like he has all these like smart little fibs against Le Chiffre, and I'm like, oh god, I don't know if you'd be able to like get those out.
Well, that's I think that's what it means to be like the masculinity that is being portrayed there. It's like I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction
Oh,
of breaking me,
it's a
you
tough
know, like
scene.
yeah, no, and like just and if anything, like I'm gonna laugh about this, and I'm gonna like have you scratch my balls on top of
Yeah,
that, you know, like I couldn't do that. Like there's no way I fail to see any man being able to take that kind of punishment
right,
and then laugh about it and then also joke about that
right.
too.
But again, it's a fantasy, you know, the character of James Bond and his level of
Oh yeah, no,
toughness.
I'm just saying as far as any character, I'm talking about any man
Yeah,
in any kind
human
of
being.
cinema that I
Yeah.
could, yeah, like it's like in movies or not, I don't see any kind of other character taking that kind of punishment and being like that witty. Maybe Tony Stark, but I feel like he wouldn't be able to take that much punishment.
Huh. So what I find strange is they never comment on Vesper getting tortured. There's never a scene at the hospital where James is like, "Oh, by the way, how are you doing?" Like they never talk about it. You just hear her screaming in the other room, and then it's like, "I'm fine, thank you. I'm here.
I'm
I'm here in
fine.
my wheelchair." That's all that matters. I don't know. I just find that bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she's a lot better off than James was.
We
Like,
don't know. We don't know what happened in there.
well, I'm determining that because she's walking around and like sitting on his lap and kind of being cutesy. Like, I'm
Right.
assuming that whatever happened to her wasn't as physically demanding as what happened to James, just based on those actions. But you're right. Like I don't know what happened. I don't know what she was getting electrocuted or anything like that. Like
Right.
there's nothing, you know. And I think that was on purpose too, because like showing a woman getting tortured, I think would I don't know. I don't think the audience of 2006 was ready for that.
I don't know. I think they're. I mean, they're fine with showing naked, half naked ladies dead in a hammock. There's a lot of
But
violence.
but the deed is
The
done.
deed is
Like
done.
that's you didn't see how it happened.
So at the final scene, the big reveal, Vesper has sort of betrayed him, but sort of saved him. Bond, when he is following her, he just takes out like random people on the way. And I'm like, you don't know who that was. That could have been another like MI6 agent or another. He's just like taking out people as he goes in Venice. And I'm like, oh,
he he
Bond.
he sees red, man. He sees red. He's like fucking. He's going off. He's like, do not get in my way. Like I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I'm a little confused. So I'm a little confused though, like because I was trying to figure out how she really saved Bond. Can you explain that to me?
So she traded in the money for his life,
Yeah,
right?
but then but no, I thought that she was going to give the money anyway because they had her boyfriend captive, right?
Yeah, but she kind of gave up on that. That scene in the hotel where she's like, she's not wearing the jewelry anymore, and she's like, that's behind me now. She's starting her new life with Bond, but it,
That's so fucked up though. Okay, so that whole scene kind of confused me and kind of like I don't know, I don't buy it because okay, so the chief gets taken out in like the worst way, man. Like just home, Mr. White just coming in, just like fucking a bullet to the head. Like after all that, like you're just gonna Mr. White just fucking knocks him out. I'm like, tight. All right, well, I guess that's anticlimactic. But and then like they let James live. So the parameters of like letting him live or not aren't really there, man. Like I feel that I'm trying to figure out why they let them live.
I guess yeah, I don't know. They would have talked to Vespa, and she would have been like, "Well, I'm not gonna," because they need his password anyways. You
Yeah,
know.
exactly. The fact that like, oh well, like I'm gonna let you live, well, it doesn't really matter because they need him alive anyway. And
Yeah,
so
I guess.
giving them money, it's kind of like, all right, that's already part of what is going on because she's already in cahoots with them.
I guess she just didn't expect to fall in love with him, though. You know. Uh,
But yeah, but I don't buy the whole like I'm saving his life thing. Like I don't buy that at all.
I see
Like,
what you're saying. I see
like
what you're saying.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like she left the phone behind, but at the same time, like, I like,
The whole scene of her death is so upsetting in general, because like her performance underwater of drowning is so magnificent, but they were underwater for the exact same amount of time. Bond is like screaming and breathing out all his water, yet he's like, what?
yeah,
He doesn't need any oxygen. He then gets her out of the
yeah.
water, does like 2.5 compressions, and starts making out with her lifeless body. And I'm like, you're letting her die. That's not CPR. 30 compressions, 2 rescue breaths, and you keep going until they vomit up the water. Like, what? It's so upsetting to me. First aid is always one of those things in movies where I'm like, that's not the truth. Like, if they had showed at least like some quick cuts where I would have believed that he would have kept trying to resuscitate her, but nothing.
I think I can maybe excuse that part because I think there's part of it that wants her to live, but also another part that wants her to die.
Don't
Like,
say that. It's a beautiful love story. He doesn't want her to
no, that's
die.
like, that's what I mean, man. Like, I honestly don't want this for Bond. I don't want him to feel
You
like
don't want him to be happy, Steve.
I don't want him to have like a chance for love. That's not who James Bond is. Like he is a tortured human being who looks at people as though they're commodities or just like pieces in a chess. But his humanity has been through so much, and the fact that he doesn't want to be part of it is why he's a spy. The fact that he loves it takes away from what is James Bond. You know, the ability to be tactful, the ability to take emotion out of the equation.
You got what you wanted in the end, though, because he just goes back to being stone cold. He doesn't trust anyone.
Good. That's how he's supposed to be. If he trusts everyone, then he's not a good spy. That's why I think that's why he just kind of like does what he does because he trusts that M's gonna be able to like get him out of it. But what makes James Bond is amazing is that he's on his own. It's not James Bond and like the fucking MI6 whatever it is. Like there's no supporting cast. Like the only people he really kind of uh needs is Q because of technology, because of what he can do for him, and then because she sets him off on these missions. Like, give me a gun, give me the target. That's all I need. That's all James Bond is rudimentarily supposed to be.
I guess, I mean, I see what you're saying. I think personally it's more interesting to have that emotional, if failed emotional aspect to him where he like tries to reach out to somebody and,
Well,
you know,
that's what I want. But that's what I'm saying. Like this, I want that for him. Not in this movie because it's building who he is. But I ultimately wanted him to feel that he cannot trust anyone, no
terrible.
matter how. Yeah,
Terrible, Steve. I do want to point out that she puts on her red dress without a bra, and then at the end of the movie, when she's drowned, she is wearing a bra. So she probably like
yeah, sure.
put it on at the bank. I don't know. She's like, "Excuse me, do you have a bathroom? Forgot to put my bra on."
Look, I need to look decent. Like, I'm not gonna look like a hussy. I mean, I wasn't really paying attention to that. You hear that, babe? I wasn't doing that. I wasn't paying attention if Vespa was wearing a bra. That's not how I look at things.
As a bartender, do you think that scene is annoying where he orders the drink? Part of me thinks it's a
Oh,
little annoying.
oh, it's absolutely annoying. Let me just kind of give you a little history as to why James Bond orders his fucking martini shaken, not
Sir, can you
stirred.
order off the menu, please? Here you go, sir.
Actually, to that, I don't have that, bro. I don't have golden schmagging whatever it is you just fucking said.
We don't have Lilith wine, sir.
Yeah, little. What is that? Get out of here! I mean, it's a multi-million dollar fucking casino, so I assume they'd have some. I guess maybe I don't know. Like how fucking random is that though? Like Lillet wine, get the fuck out of here. But
But
anyways,
in the book, even the bartender like is like, "Oh wow, good! What a great! I wish I was a mixologist like you, sir." Like he puts in the drink order, and the barman is like nods in approval, like, "Wow."
okay, so like there are some times when someone orders a drink and I'm like, oh, that actually sounds really fucking good. You know, like there are times when like I do that,
Is it
like
equal measure
and
vodka
as
and gin and Lillet wine and a thin slice of lemon? Is that the
no,
drink?
oh, if someone said like a thin slice of lemon, I'd be like, go fuck yourself. Like, what do you mean a thin slice of fucking of lemon? You mean a peel?
In the movie, I think it is a peel. Yeah.
It's very unappealing of you, sir. But no, like as a bartender, like if it's actually kind of helpful, like say like did have all those ingredients, right? And I knew everything in my bar, which I kind of do. If someone told me like, oh, can you do this with this much wine, this much, that much, and that much, I'd be like, yeah, for sure. Makes it super easy. It's a lot better than fucking saying like, oh, I had this one drink in fucking Madagascar and like it was amazing. It tasted like bananas, but still had some kind of lemony after. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like, that shit's annoying. That I want to like be like go home to your Applebee's and your Baskin Robbins. Don't bring that shit here. So like those kind of drinks, I do it because I do love alcohol. Not to the point where like I want to drink every day, but I'm willing to pay like $15-$20 for a drink if it's handcrafted well at a bar. You know, I've done that because I appreciate the mixology that goes into it, and I appreciate everything else that goes into like how a drink is prepared. You know, that's why you see me like kind of doing that kind of spasm of a shake I do whenever I'm bartending, because
Steve has a special trick where he throws a piece of fruit in the air and then tries to catch it in the shaker behind him. It has about a 5% success rate. Uh,
but when it happens, oh my god, no one looks. No one looks. And I'm like, sick, dude. All right. Well, anyways, um, so so James Bond is made out to be like this bad boy, right? This guy who kind of does his own thing. I think it was in 1960s where James Bond ordered his martinis shaken, not stirred. Well, back in the day, martinis were only stirred.
yeah,
That's because you want the vodka to just be able to uh, be tasted like vodka. You don't want like water or little ice pieces in there because it kind of compromises the taste and bruises the alcohol a little bit. So that's why you see like martinis kind of have like that smooth, like kind of velvety look to them whenever you see them like in movies or whatever, because they're supposed to be stirred. Shaken means like you're gonna shake the shit out of it, and so
chilled. Yeah.
you're gonna have it chilled. You're gonna have it look cloudy. You're gonna like there's a lot of things that go on with it. Martinis now aren't really like martinis back then. Like we have this one drink called an Asian pear. That shit is not a martini. That is a cocktail. Like because a cocktail has multiple ingredients into it, and so by the time I'm done with it, I've had six
Yeah.
ingredients in that cocktail, and so it's not. We call it a martini, but it's just because it's in a martini glass.
We
Like,
call a lot of things the
but
martini that have A and O vermouth in it, and yeah, BR cocktail.
yeah. Don't even get me started. But that's pretty much the history with James Bond because he orders a shaken because he doesn't do things like how normally you do things.
I do like that line in the movie where the bartender's like shaking or stirred, and Bond's like, "Do I look like I give a damn?" I don't know. I like that. It's like a little
Yeah,
nod.
that was perfect. See, that I feel is a great homage to a James Bond of the
Yeah,
past
yeah.
because that's a great line, like shaken or stirred, you know. And
This new
so
Bond does not care. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Newbound's like, just give me the fucking drink, like, which plays into his character because like he doesn't care how you make it, just fucking make it. Except when it comes to that casino scene, apparently he needs like fucking Velveeta wine, whatever it is.
I've had somebody order that when I was working as a bartender, and I was like, I don't have Lillet wine, and the guy goes, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll get something else," and I'm like, where have you ordered this drink? Because like I don't have.
I don't know. Whenever you put a martini or whenever you mix wine into a martini, I just feel like that's gonna be like a mistake. And apparently, like little wine is only like $20. By the way,
Huh.
it's not even that a high class like wine either. It's like it's like buying like a dark horse Merlot or something like out of 7-Eleven. Like, yeah, just give me the little wine, like that $20 one. You want that in your like fucking your Grey Goose? Yeah, your fucking trash bag. Get out of here. God, I can't stand people sometimes.
But those are really all my notes about the movie. Do you have anything else?
Uh, I'm just really upset how Lashif just fucking just got taken out. That's honestly like my my fucking biggest take on that. It's like, and by like a I don't know, by a character who I don't know.
Yeah. Also, where was Felix? Why wasn't Felix there? Wasn't he gonna take in Lashifa? He's like, where we got to take him in. Where are you, Felix? I don't.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking like, what the fuck happened, bro? Like, where'd that plan go? Like, what? Like, it's like, oh, my pleasure. Like, okay, cool, okay.
Bond's typing up a bad Yelp review of the CIA in his hospital bed.
I gave Lashif to the CIA in a handbasket, and my balls never felt the same again. Let me explain.
Oh God.
No, I mean, like, honestly, like, okay, so of all the Bond villains, I think Lashif is probably the best one that kind of displays a sense of calm and but still like a sense of urgency. Like he understands that he needs to be able to accomplish his goals, but in a way where it's it's rude, but not in a way where it's like villainous. You know, if you get what I'm saying. You know, he's trying to get to from point A to point B, but he's doing it in a way where he's not going to fucking explode. He's not going to take the Bond approach, pretty
Yeah.
much. Like, like honestly, if you saw a villain that did what Bond did, you'd be like, all right, bro, calm the fuck down.
Stop killing all of Madagascar.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like when it comes to Bond, like I think when it comes to good guys in general, we give them a big pass
Yeah.
as far as like what they're able to do and how they're able to behave. And I feel that in a lot of movies, we give the same kind of uh, wiggle room to villains, and it just doesn't translate well. With that said, Lashif is probably the best villain in all the Bond films, and James, I just hope he just lives in that tortured little box of his, knowing that he can't trust anyone.
Wow. So dark.
Good. Save the world already. Fuck. Stop falling in love.
But yeah, I think that's it. You can find Modern Life at gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, anywhere where you listen to podcasts. Steve, thanks so much for joining me for this one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just let you know that I'm gonna be doing bunch of little segments called Wookiee Wednesday on my Instagram page. It's gonna be amazing, guys. My tag is STESAL underscore Unity. That's right. Wookiee Wednesdays
But
coming at
you
you.
should spell onesie with a W though. No? Is
Ah,
it? Am I?
genius. No, that's because I won it. Wookiee onesie Wednesdays. www hashtag I'm ridiculous. All right, thank you so much,
Thank
Shabs.
you.